Maplewood City is more prosperous than any city that Xianxia has seen in the home star territory, and even the water sky city of constant gathering chamber of commerce cannot be compared with it. But in the star boundary, it was just one of countless unknown cities, and looking at the entire South Territory it's not a big deal. It was really an eye-opener for Xianxia. The only thing that made him a little bit spurned was that he had to pay 10 low-rank source crystals to enter the city. This made him feel extremely distressed. He is no longer in the home star territory. Now every source crystal is precious to him, so naturally he dare not use it casually. The source crystals in his hand were all found from the space ring of the Blue Feather Sect disciple, not many, only a few thousand. There were originally 4 space rings, and there was even a ring of a martial artist at the first order principal source stage, but Xianxia gave Lu Xianyun 3, and he only kept 1. In addition to the thousands of source crystals in the ring, there were only 2 artifacts that were not of a high grade, and there were also some miscellaneous materials that were not of much use. After entering Maplewood City, he was not in a hurry to find a place to live, but walked around, looking at the conversations of the surrounding martial artists, and obtaining information that was beneficial to him. After one day, he also gained a lot. Just as he expected, the strength of the martial artist in Maplewood City is not that strong, and even some small forces around it are not too powerful. Duan Yuanshan, the city lord, is a powerful second-order principal source stage, and the 2 vice-city lords are first-order principal source stage martial artists. The 3 people work together to govern the entire Maplewood City. As for the small families in the city, except for the Zhang family with a first-order principal source stage old ancestor, there is no more martial artist of the principal source stage level. And the surrounding small forces, most of them only have the martial artists of the first-order principal source stage. Only Raging Fire Palace has a second-order principal source stage, faintly able to contend with the city lord's mansion of Maplewood City. However, Xianxia knew that Raging Fire Palace's Lord Luo have been killed in Jade Clear Mountain. I'm afraid it won't be long before the pattern of power in Maplewood City to change. The tragedy in Jade Clear Mountain has spread to Maplewood City, and is even spreading to the entire South Territory at an extremely fast speed. After all, it is the Holy Spirit Vermilion Bird Phoenix who appeared, and it will attract the attention and investigation of many powerful people. Of course, this is not what Xianxia needs to care about. All he cares about is whether Maplewood City can become his temporary foothold. It seems that this place looks good. There is no martial artist who is too powerful, which means that he will not encounter too much threat. He has plenty of time to grow slowly. So after inquiring enough information, Xianxia immediately decided to stay in Maplewood City for the time being. At the very least, he had to transform his internal power into source strength before making other plans. As night fell, he came to a side hall next to the city lord's mansion and went to the staff on duty in the city lord's mansion to go through his identity plate and various procedures. After some tossing down, another 3,000 source crystals was spent, and the distressed Xianxia gritted his teeth. However, despite the high cost, he could live in Maplewood City with peace of mind within a year. And there is a nice cave mansion. This cave mansion was built by the City Lord Mansion of Maplewood City, and any foreign martial artist can rent it, but depends on the quality of the cave mansion, the fees that need to be paid are also different. Xianxia was not stingy in this regard, because he knew that the speed of cultivation is inseparable from a good environment, so he directly rented a relatively high-quality cave mansion. Leaving from that side hall, it took a lot of trouble to find out where the cave mansion was, and finally came to where he was staying. Using the identity nameplate to open the cave mansion restriction, Xianxia entered. It is said to be a cave mansion, but in fact it is nothing more than a well-built house, with a lot of good restrictions placed inside. To prevent outsiders from peeping. Xianxia turned around and found that it was okay. The world's spiritual energy in the cave is much richer than that in the city, which seems to be because of the formation that gathers spiritual energy. There are also several rooms with different functions for Xianxia to use. He doesn't have much demand for this, as long as there is a place to live. Without words for a night, Xianxia just meditated cross-legged, regaining his energy while transforming his source strength. Until the second day, he walked out of the cave. Walking on the street, looking at the all kinds of martial artists and the crowded streets, Xianxia's thoughts were flying. When he first entered the Star Territory, he seemed to be in the same mood as now. He was full of curiosity and exploration about everything, and gradually grew from weak to strong. At that time, he could do it by himself, he can also do it now. At this moment, Yang Kai's eyes became firm. It's just. He don't know his two major helpers, Aiou, Gaizu, and Chiyu situation and how they are doing now, and where they are. If he didn't get separated with them, it's better to combine the power of everyone than to be alone. Yang Kai shook his head, without thinking about it much, and went straight ahead. Not long after, he stopped in front of a shop called Spirit Pill Workshop, and after a moment of pondering, he walked directly in. The shopkeeper on the opposite side immediately nodded and bowed to greet him. What do the guests need? I'm not bragging. We have everything in the Spirit Pill Workshop, the price is fair, and the young people are not bullied. I guarantee that we have the spirit pill you need. In addition, I will tell you quietly, there is a share of the city lord here, so you don't have to worry about buying fakes when you buy something here. This shop's xiaoer looked mysterious and lowered his voice. Yang Kai smiled slightly, knowing that he must have said this to every guest who came here, but this spirit pill workshop might really have connection with the city lord, and in this Maplewood city, he dare not believe it. Otherwise, there are not enough lives to lose. I'm not here to buy spirit pills. Yang Kai waved his hand. Then what does the customer need? The shop xiaoer had a good temper, and said with a smile, we only sell spirit pills here, and nothing else. Pill recipe, is there any? Yang Kai frowned. Xiao Er frowned when he heard the words, and smiled reluctantly, I really can't be the master, the guest please wait, I will ask the shopkeeper. Yang Kai nodded. The shop xiaoer immediately turned and went inside. The reason why Yang Kai came to buy the pill recipe was completely related to what he encountered during the month of pill refining in Blue Feather Sect. Although he was very popular when he was doing pill refining in the Blue Feather Sect, and he was also sought after by many disciples of the Blue Feather Sect, but in many cases, Yang Kai had never even heard of the pill that those martial artists came to request, let alone pill refining. After all, the materials and products of the Star Boundary are much richer than those of the home Star Territory. Many medicinal materials that cannot be seen in the Star Territory are everywhere in the Star Boundary. This has promoted the development of Star Boundary pill refining technique. Numerous different pill recipe came into being. With the knowledge of pill refining that Yang Kai mastered, it was enough to use in the Star Territory, but when it came to the Star Boundary, it paled in comparison. If he wants to cultivate, he must earn source crystals, and the only way he can think of is to redo his old karma and make pill refining for others. Improving one's own pill recipe is a preparatory work, so you don't sharpen your knife and chop wood by mistake. Moreover, Yang Kai urgently needed a kind of pill recipe, such as source congealing pill. The function of source congealing pill is to help the martial artist of the Void King realm transform the internal power into the source strength, and be welcomed by the cultivators of the Void King realm. After all, the strength has reached this level. It requires a variety of opportunities, but also the accumulation of time. Compared with the promotion level, the transformation of source strength can also increase the combat power. The Void King realm martial artist naturally needs a large amount of source congealing pill to assist, shortening the time to transform the source strength. When Yang Kai was promoted to the third order Void King realm, the starlight in his body had been exhausted, and the speed of transforming his source strength suddenly slowed down. If he wanted to increase his speed, he could only start from the source congealing pill. Moreover, this kind of pill is extremely popular among the Void King realm martial artist, the price is expensive, and the materials are not too difficult to find. As long as the pill recipe for this spirit pill can be bought, Yang Kai can refine it. Even if only source congealing pill is refined, Yang Kai felt that he could earn a lot of money. While waiting, he wandered around in the spirit pill workshop and saw many spirit pill he hadn't heard of, but the effect was strange, which made him very excited. As an alchemy expert, he naturally has a desire for pill recipe. He secretly calculated that it would be appropriate to find someone to buy pill recipe later. Not long after that, the shop xiaoer went back and said with a smile on his face, "This guest, our shopkeeper said, please come in." Yang Kai raised his brows and looked a little surprised. After all, he was just here to buy a pill recipe, and he had never met the shopkeeper. What was he so passionate about? But after thinking about it carefully, he nodded his head naturally, "Okay, I'll trouble you to lead the way. Here, please." The shop xiao eagerly led the way. After a short while, he brought Yang Kai to the front of a room. He motioned for a while and bowed out. Yang Kai raised his hand and knocked on the door, and a somewhat old voice immediately came from inside, "Please come in." Pushing the door and entering, the room was filled with incense, and the decoration was simple. A middle-aged old man was standing there with his hands on his back. After seeing Yang Kai, he quickly smiled and said, "Kongsaran, the shopkeeper of Spirit Pill Workshop, I don't know what is the guest called?" Yang Kai has seen shopkeeper Kong. Yang Kai smiled back. Kongsaran nodded and looked up and down Yang Kai, before his eyes lit up, "Young Master Yang has worked hard." Yang Kai naturally knew that he had said this because he had seen through his own cultivation level, and this Kongsaran was also a martial artist in the Third Order Void King realm. However, Yang Kai could feel that the power in his body was pure and not messy. It was obviously transformed into source strength. If there is a chance, he might be able to advance to the principal source stage. Yang Kai naturally humbled when the other party praised him. "Come, young Master Yang, please sit down and try the tea made by the old man himself." When Kongsaran spoke, he enthusiastically filled a cup of steaming hot tea for Yang Kai, and the fragrance of tea overflowed in an instant. Kongsaran pushed the teacup in front of Yang Kai and stretched out his hand for him to taste it. To be continued.